Police on their way to a petrol station in Lancashire. Once there, they discover a 23-year-old woman in a car. She's been drugged and kidnapped.
She was very drowsy, she couldn't lift her head up, she couldn't get herself out of the vehicle.
When he's assaulted you, what has he been saying to you?
He said to me, basically, he'll kill me.
Did you think you were going to die?
I thought my life was in danger, yeah.
She's broken a code that goes back hundreds of years, built around what's seen as a sacred trust, the family honour.
Honour, or izzat, is respect, status. The reality is power and control. Women's behaviour has to fit in with whatever men have to say.
There are thousands of other young people like her in Britain today who live in fear of their own families. But very few are prepared to talk about it. This film, 2 years in the making, tells one shocking story.
Do you understand that you're under arrest? Okay.
Family, honour, that's the main thing that keeps coming up instead of happiness.
This afternoon, I need to speak to a 16-year-old girl who's been told that family are going to pack her off to Pakistan to marry a 26-year-old relative.
Lancashire Police have 2 units dedicated to tackling so-called honour crime, including forced marriages, false imprisonment and assaults.
We're going to bring charges, then we'll get the family back in early.
This programme tells the inside story of the investigation of a crime that split a family apart.
It's now just going through what we need for CPS.
This team, based in Blackburn, have dealt with more than 60 cases in the last 12 months. Almost all of them have involved girls under 21 being forced into marriages they don't want, otherwise face emotional blackmail, or much worse.
Parents are prepared to harm their own children in order to protect this thing that they call honour.
Shabana is 23 and a victim of that code of honour. She's one of the latest cases for the Blackburn team. Shabana isn't her real name, and we've blurred her face and altered her voice at her request.
It took me a lot of courage to run away from my family. So many times I decided to go, then I was like, no, I love my family's here. You know, there's always that family barrier thing, stopping you from going away. And then, I don't know, it just came to a point where I thought, I've got no more choices or options, and I just had to do it. I just had to make a decision for myself. So I just went.
Shabana ran away from her mother's home, where she lived, rather than going through with a forced marriage to a cousin. She went to another city and met and fell in love with a young Muslim man there.
I didn't want my life to end up in a question mark. So I thought, yeah, let's get married. What can be more, beautiful than that, to have a marriage? It's the Islamic way as well, and it's legal. So we got married, and I was so happy. That was the happiest day of my life. Seriously. And I don't know, it's just 24/7, him. Same for him, he treats me like a princess.
But her happiness was to be short-lived. When Shabana's family found out about her secret marriage, some of them were very unhappy.
Never liked him, that's the thing. They fake it on the face. They've never ever liked him.
Shabana tried to reconcile matters with them, but while she was staying without her husband at her sister's house in January 2010, matters came to a head.
And it didn't feel right to me, and I said, no, I want to go, I just have to go. But they wouldn't let me.
While Shabana was at her sister's, her mother, brother and brother-in-law went to her new home. Her brother climbed through the kitchen window of the house, and Shabana's husband says he was threatened and her belongings, passport and marriage certificate taken away.
They blackmailed him and said, "You've got 2 weeks to prove yourself. Otherwise, you're not getting her back."
Her husband, concerned about Shabana's welfare, alerts police. Later that same night, they track down her whereabouts and order the car she's in to rendezvous with them at a petrol station. Shabana is in a car being driven by her brother-in-law, supposedly to take her back to her husband.
She was under the influence of something at the time. We didn't know what that was.
She couldn't talk properly, she was slurring her words, we could hardly get a name off her.
Pretty much had to carry her back to our police vehicle.
She was slurry and her eyes were all over the place really. She didn't look well at all.
Because of Shabana's condition, she is sent to a nearby hospital. She's treated and samples of her blood and urine are taken. What she tells police that night starts a process that will end with 5 members of her family being arrested. The next day, the Community Cohesion Unit of Lancashire Police, based in Blackburn, begins further investigations into what Shabana has said.
Because she made a disclosure to the officer about being unwell after having this drink.
Shabana is discharged from the hospital and brought to the police station.
Well, she's been discharged. She's feeling a bit groggy.
Detectives questioning her suspect she may have been drugged or poisoned through a drink she'd been given, hot, sweet milk.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Have you had that before, this sweet milk before? How long was it before you felt really ill after you had a mouthful of this drink?
I was fine, and then as soon as I went in the living room to sit down, I don't know, like, I wasn't even prepared for it. I just puked, and it was like my eyes were half shut.
So you've thrown up in the house?
Yeah, and there's everybody talking to each other, and I don't know who's wiping my face. I don't know what's going on.
When you said that everyone was talking and you could hear different people talking, could you hear what the conversation was like?
I don't know, I was just like knocking out type, like blacking out.
Right.
Next minute, someone's holding me to take me outside the house. My brother-in-law got in the van, he was the driver. We went to a petrol station, and then after that, all I can remember is a police guy knocking on the window and asking me if I'm alright. And like, it was all confusing because I didn't know where he's come from, because like, who's reported the police, what's going on?
Yeah, it was your husband.
He opened the door and he got my stuff from me and he grabbed me out, and they helped me in the van. After that, I don't remember nothing.
Right, I've got enough just to speak to Bobby, and then we can go back to, right from the beginning now. Okay. Sorry about that. It's just something I had to get done by 2 o'clock.
Now he's got the extra information, DC Dave Souch is anxious to brief his boss straight away.
We've got to get straight to the point about what's gone on before we start doing any in-depth work and bits and pieces. I'm going to get a statement from her if she's happy to provide one.
So when did you make the decision to go?
I decided quite a few times.
PC Angela Harwood is getting some background about why Shabana left home.
I just couldn't take it anymore. I thought, do you know what, forget it, I don't want to be here. So I just felt so, like, helpless and hopeless.
Following Shabana's account of what's happened, police believe they now have enough grounds to start making arrests. They plan to search the sister's house for any evidence, particularly relating to that hot, sweet milk.
We're looking for a mug. That's all she knows.
What colour?
What colour was the mug you drank out of? A white mug. Is it a standard mug, or is it...
No, it's like a curved round mug.
Curved round mug, Richard. White. Curved round mug. White.
Round mug.
In white.
What was the drink?
Milk. Hot milk. And whereabouts did you put the mug down?
What room?
Put it back on the sink.
Put it back on the sink in kitchen.
Colin's coming. Yeah. Yeah, Colin's coming.
Right,
They were like saying to me, get a divorce. Any guy would do, but not him.
Was he angry?
Shabana recalls how her brother first came to her house. It was a terrifying experience.
He even said, if you don't open the door, I'm going to bash it down.
So he sounded angry and aggressive. Were you frightened when you were banging on the door?
Yeah, very frightened.
Shall we crack on?
Yes.
Right, thanks for coming. Basically, we're going to go to Warrington Corner Terrace house. I'll just give you some background in relation to the job. Basically, there's a lady...
PC Richard Jarram is briefing the arrest team.
She was going to be forced into a marriage against her will.
There's plenty of backup, but he's planning a low-key approach.
We've had a quick look at the address as a flyby physical visit. It's an end-terraced house with a UPVC door. I'm assuming that we're going to be knocking on entry rather than using force. The warrant's here for you. So what we're looking for is a curved round mug, white, maybe part of a set, any medicine or any signs of medicine having been crushed up, or any sort of what you consider to be a noxious substance that's at hand. The car in which she was in is a Toyota Estima, and it's outside the address.
Oh yeah, that's good. I've literally just finished taking a statement with her. All she wants to do is go back to be reunited with husband. They are now moving him to a safe house.
The Lancashire police team are on the way to make their arrests at Shabana's sister's house. Shabana is signing a statement that will be the basis of the evidence against her family.
Whether we find anything, it's going to be difficult. It might just be that we end up seizing a lot of items, because to the naked eye we might not be able to see what we're looking for, but after sort of forensic examination we might actually find the vital bit of evidence.
Hi, yeah, sorry to bother you. Richard Jarram from the police.
Yeah.
May we come in? We have a search warrant to search this address. Your sister's made certain allegations that we're following up. Okay. Hello, sir. Are you husband? Okay. I'm going to inform you that you're under arrest on suspicion of administering poison.
The first arrest is Shabana's brother-in-law. He was driving the car she was found in.
Anything you do say may be given an end. Do you understand that you're under arrest?
Next to be arrested are Shabana's father and her sister.
Just sit behind this seat. Yes. Richard Jarram. Hi, Angie. Yeah, 3 arrested on the way to Greenbank.
Back at the police station, detectives decide that Shabana needs to stay overnight in a hotel to allow her to rest and come in for further questioning in the morning.
I need accommodation for a single female for tonight, quite urgently. Please, thank you. Come on, Chuck. I'm waiting for a car to turn up so I can take you to somewhere to get your head down.
As Shabana leaves, her father and 2 other members of her family are brought in for questioning. She's taken a big step.
No, go ahead.
Shabana's brother-in-law arrives at the police station. He's destined to play a major part in this family drama. Fear of their own families. But very few are prepared to talk about it. This film, 2 years in the making, tells one shocking story.
Do you understand that you're under arrest?
Police on their way to a petrol station in Lancashire. Once there, they discover a 23-year-old woman in a car. She's been drugged and kidnapped.
She was very drowsy, she couldn't lift her head up, she couldn't get herself out of the vehicle.
When he's assaulted you, what has he been saying to you?
He said to me, basically, he'll kill me.
Did you think you were going to die?
I thought my life was in danger, yeah.
She's broken a code that goes back hundreds of years, built around what's seen as a sacred trust, the family honour.
Family honour, that's the main thing that keeps coming up instead of happiness.
Honour, or izzat, is respect, status. The reality is power and control. Women's behaviour has to fit in with whatever men have to say.
There are thousands of other young people like her in Britain today who live in